Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's let's do the Hold On weekend. Saturday, March 9th is National Barbie Day, National Crab Meat Day, National Meatball Day, and National Get Over It Day. Sunday, the 10th of March, National Mario Day, National Blueberry Popover Day, National Pack Your Lunch Day, National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, and Daylight Savings Time. Yeah, don't forget to change your clocks for those of you who do that. That is all happening today. Also, don't want to forget this. Kim Gaeblin with Bil-Jac is going to be my guest today. We're going to talk about some tips for pets. We're getting to spring here before you know it. I know it doesn't feel like it yet, but before you know it, we'll have spring here. So we got some fun tips for your pets, and they've got all kinds of good treats. That's the ones that we give our dogs when they do a good job.
Our dogs love Bil-Jac.
And it's funny because if you just say the word treat, all of a sudden our dogs, their ears perk up. Mm-hmm. It's like when you say Alexa, she'll quit doing what she's doing. She listens. Mm-hmm. What? So same kind of thing. This is the weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show. We thank you so much for listening.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the Weird Gift of the Day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A new study by the University of Rochester found that dad jokes build strong relationships between parents and kids. I like that. You know, moms can tell dad jokes as well. They're still called dad jokes for some weird reason, though. I don't know why. Do you like dad jokes, Heidi?
No.
Not at all?
Usually, no.
There are some that you've laughed at that are...
But never like a hearty, awesome laugh. It's always like, oh... Okay.
I did a dad joke in text to our daughter. I don't remember what it was, but it was the thing.
She said, do you want to write a movie? And you wrote, a movie. You wrote the words, a movie.
I still don't know what she meant by that. Do you want to write a movie? Yeah, that sounds like fun. A movie. There, I did it. That was great.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Okay, that maybe wasn't a very good dad joke. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website BetterCreditCards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. BetterCreditCards.net. That's BetterCreditCards.net.
And this is Your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by TimeForRehab.com. A Florida mayor charged with illegally practicing medicine shot at police when they came to arrest him early Thursday. I think this is from maybe a couple weeks ago. Tampa Bay Times reported their mayor in Port Richey, Dale Masad, was being served a warrant by a SWAT team at his home at 4:40 a.m. That seems like a weird time to go there, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Shots were fired from within the house. He's lucky he's not dead, the sheriff said at a press conference. Added, the mayor may face multiple charges of attempted homicide on law enforcement officers. It says here that they had to go there because of this guy being a known drug user and a drug dealer, and he had drugs in his home. And that's why they brought the whole SWAT team. They knew it was going to be a very dangerous situation. He was the mayor. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that all just seem really weird?
Yeah, it really does.
That whole story, bizarre. I've got a link to it if you want to read all about it. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. HBO released the trailer for the final season of Game of Thrones, so it's out.
That's not a
We've
show
never
I
seen
watch.
It. Well, we don't have HBO, so that's why. ABC News was rated the highest-rated news show last month. That extends their lead now to 3 straight years. So more Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other network, and they just keep getting it. South Park co-creator Trey Parker had to file for divorce from his wife recently. That's kind of sad. So, I don't know. I think they've been married a while, haven't they?
I have no idea.
You don't hang out with them on the weekends?
No, I wouldn't have any idea.
Well, that's Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
Here's a fun trip back to the 80s.
Surely you can't be serious.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the desert May 3rd and 4th. Hang out with other 80s fans.
International language of love.
Meet several 80s icons from the movies and rock out to awesome music from the 80s. Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Mr. Scandal with Patti Smythe, Thomas Dolby, Pretty Poison, and more. See the full list of bands and icons at RadioTravelGroup.com. That's RadioTravelGroup.com.
Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. Popeyes, the chicken place, they've unveiled Mardi Gras bead box. It allows you to wear a box of chicken around your neck that has chicken. It's
Oh my gosh.
beads made out of chicken. I don't know that we need wearable food. Do we need that? I mean, really?
Oh,
I don't
man.
think we need that. Do I have that here? Somewhere. Might be our good news. I don't think it's our good news today, though. They have biodegradable Mardi Gras beads now.
That's probably not a
That is
bad
good
idea.
Yeah. So now I don't need that for our good news. But they came out with that because there were so many beads like in the sewer.
Yeah, that's
Remember
not a
that?
bad idea.
In New Orleans, they had like 2 tons of beads they pulled out of the sewer
Mm-hmm.
system. But anyway, now they have biodegradable beads they're going to be selling. I think that's kind of a cool idea. I think that's a better idea than the Popeyes Mardi Gras bead chicken. I don't think that's a great plan. Video's gone viral of a handcuffed criminal climbing out of a window in Wisconsin at a police station. They left him alone in an interrogation room. Somehow, he was able to just open the window and climb out, even though he was wearing handcuffs. That doesn't seem like a good plan. Maybe they should have put bars on the windows. I don't know.
That might have been helpful.
Or have somebody watching him or something. Georgia police DUI expert has just recently been accused of driving while impaired. That's that person's
geez.
job. I'm a DUI expert. Now I have it on
I
my record.
wonder if he thought expert meant
I don't know.
he's practiced
and I don't know
it
if
a
it's
lot.
he because it doesn't say. It just says a Georgia police DUI expert
Yeah.
is accused of. So we could assume he or she, but we don't know. A stray mongrel dog. You know what that is, right? Like a mongrel?
It's just a
mutt?
angry dog.
No, it's not angry. It's just
Oh.
it's means that it's not like a purebred.
Okay,
So when I was growing up, I think maybe
that's
somebody can
most dogs.
somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. That has happened before, quite a bit lately, actually, because I don't always know what I'm talking about. But I believe like mongrel and mutt are the same thing. Growing up, I always heard of them referred to as a mutt.
Okay.
It just means
Anyway.
multiple different breeds altogether. So a stray mongrel dog that was taken off the streets in India has just beaten out a host of purebreds to become India's top sniffing hound. How cool is that?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Talk about a real slumdog millionaire.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Slumdog.
I get.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be a millionaire, but he's the top dog in India. Video has gone viral of a carnival performer in Rio who was dressed as Michael Jackson. Have you seen that video at all?
No.
Would you, even if you bear a likeness to Michael Jackson, is this a good time to be dressing like that?
I wouldn't.
Don't think so. One of the accusers in the Michael Jackson documentary, Leaving Neverland, has set up a nonprofit where he can accept donations from sympathetic fans. Wade Robeson testified on behalf of Michael Jackson in 2005 in a court case, and he said, under oath, in court, Michael Jackson never touched me. But now, in the documentary, his story has changed, and he's opened a nonprofit where you can send him money. So,
Don't send him any money.
well, here's the thing. I don't know exactly. Again,
He should have told the truth then. If it was the truth, he should have said it then.
it's just a big old mess now, and now it's not my word versus his word because it's my word versus he's dead. So there's no. Again, I am not trying to say what he did. If he did that is okay. I definitely don't feel that way. I don't think that would be. I don't think anybody feels that way. I just think it's really.
And
It's
it's just my feeling that he did do wrong things.
There must have been something.
I
but
mean,
and
I feel like he bought his way out of it, which I think is criminal in itself.
Yeah, again, it's a big, fat, hairy topic that I certainly don't want to get into because I'm already uncomfortable even talking about it this much. One last thing. Video's gone viral of an avalanche in Colorado that dumped 300 feet of snow on the highway.
Whoa,
300
holy cow.
feet. That's like as tall as a lot of radio towers. That's a lot of snow.
That's a lot of snow.
Yeah, that much fell on the... So I wonder how they're going to scoop that out. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you have IRS tax problems? Are they keeping you up at night? Afraid to open your own mail or even answer your telephone? If your tax problems are affecting your family life, you need to know you have options. You have rights. And we'll make sure you get them. Call and speak with Mike Habib, the tax expert who will handle your case at 877-78-TAXES or online at myirs.taxrelief.com. That's 877-78-TAXES or myirs.taxrelief.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. On the telephone with us right now, we have Kim from Bil-Jac, and they have dog treats and all kinds of cool stuff for pets. And Kim, how are you doing today?
I'm good, John. How are you?
Very good. It's been a little while since we've talked. I know we've talked several times in the past, and today we're going to kind of chat about pet safety and things that we need to be kind of careful about around the house.
Yes, as dog parents, we don't always appreciate how many things can be around the house that our dogs can get into. And so I think, talking today, hopefully some prevention will be the best way to keep your dog safe and out of, and not eating the things that they shouldn't be.
And a lot of it is just kind of making sure that these things are not where they can access them. So it's not saying get this stuff out of your house completely, but make sure that it's not someplace that your dog can just, very easily go and access it, right?
Yes, for example, chocolate. Like, I would not suggest you should take chocolate out of the house, but it's very important to be able to not have the dogs be able to access chocolate, right? And it depends on if you have a small dog, right? If you have a small dog, it may be a little easier because maybe they're not getting up on chairs or it's not easy for them to get up on the counter. But if you have a bigger dog, things can be a little bit more challenging about how you hide things and keep things away from them so that they don't get into trouble.
And we actually had that happen. It's been a long, long time ago, but we had a dog that snuck into our closet, like the door was open just enough, and found a chocolate Easter bunny and ate almost the entire thing. And I was thinking for sure, because I had always heard how bad chocolate is for little dogs, I was like, no, this is not going to be good. And our dog was very, very sick for, a day or two, but snapped out of it and was okay. So
yes, and my in-laws have had the same thing happen, right? Dog got on the table, ate a box of chocolate, and then was very sick and thankfully lived through it. So certainly chocolate's one of those things. Some things are a little bit more dangerous from a food perspective. Things like grapes and raisins. We don't know why they tend to be a toxin for dogs, but they can damage a dog's kidneys. So you want to make sure that, in fruit salads, and raisin bread, things like that you might have around, you're not going to want to leave that out, or you're going to want to kind of keep that away from your dogs. Macadamia nuts are another one of those kind of things people don't hear about, that we don't know what makes them toxic to dogs, but it can affect their digestive and nervous systems. Maybe you've heard about onions before. Onions can cause something called the Heinz body anemia, and so that's not a good thing. So you want to make sure that you're not dropping onions, or that you're protecting against having them fall down. Because I'm always chopping up onions, and I'm not always great at that. So you might want to put the dog away or put the dog in another place. And one of the big ones I always call out that people don't always know about in terms of the food category is sugar-free gum and candies.
Oh wow!
Because those have xylitol. Some of them have an ingredient in them called xylitol, and xylitol can be very toxic to dogs. And I know about this personally because my dog actually ate a whole pack of gum, and so luckily we saw that within probably 45 minutes of him ingesting it. We were able to get him to a vet. Get him to empty the contents of his stomach, but he still spent 3 days in the veterinary hospital with care, and we were wondering if he was going to make it, but he came through just fine. So part of all of this, knowing about these toxins and even the other toxins like plants and other things we can talk about. What's most important is knowing what your dog might have gotten into. Being able to get online, look and see maybe what they ate, and see do you know how much they ate, and be able to have that information available in case something happens and be ready. Other things around your house that may be a challenge could be plants, right? Hopefully spring isn't too far away and is right around the corner. And things like daffodils and azaleas and tulips can be very dangerous for dogs. They can be very, if they're eating leaves or flowers, and especially tulip bulbs, those things can be dangerous. So if you have them in the yard, you may want to watch your dog or keep them away from those areas. If you're in a warmer climate, sago palms are very dangerous. So there's a lot of plants that can also be dangerous that are outside. And then of course, there's the things that are around the house, things like pest control products. If they're bad for pests, of course they'd be bad for your dog.
And I suppose like this spring we'll have things like weed killers and things like that. That's all bad too.
Absolutely. Fertilizer can smell and kind of taste good to your dog, so that's one thing that you're going to want to watch when you've got the fertilizer out before you put it out in the yard. But, even little things around the house, things like dish detergent or those little packets of detergent.
Yeah.
Sometimes can be attractive to dogs. Fabric softener sheets can have things in them that aren't good. And then there's our medicine and our vitamins. I know that occasionally I might be a little bit clumsy and drop a pill. So, I always recommend that if you're taking pills, if you've got your vitamins or you're just taking some Advil, make sure you're somewhere where the dog isn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I take them in the bathroom where the dog is not with me, or you want to make sure you put the dog away and take your pills so that you're not dropping any. Because, dogs, even though they're, child-proof containers, dogs like to chew through those. So childproof containers don't always work for dogs. No. So and some of those medications, because they're so much smaller than we are, a lot less weight typically for most dogs than a person. So those things can be very toxic to them, and they metabolize them oftentimes very differently than people metabolize things. So things like that are really important, as well as batteries.
Wow.
That's another one that people are kind of surprised about. Batteries can be very bad if they get to your stomach, for kids or for pets and people. Even especially those small ones, like if you wear hearing aids or if you have some small kids' toys around, being able to make sure that those are secure and that if you're changing them, you get them into the trash and out of the house as quickly as you can. I mean, those are just some big things, right, that we don't always think about, John, when we're just hanging out with our dogs.
Absolutely.
And kind of, enjoying it and having fun, or, having a party with people, being able to make sure that you're kind of thinking about where are all those hazards, where are the purses, are they kind of somewhere hidden away so that your dog might not be able to get into them. Now, John, are your dogs, are they interested in getting into things?
Oh, yeah, our dogs, not as much as they used to be because they're getting older. Back when they were puppies, they were a lot more like explorers. Now it's kind of like, I'm just going to lay here and take a nap.
Yeah, and it really depends on the temperament of your dog, right? Some dogs are just looking for every opportunity to kind of see what you have, and they want to smell or touch or lick what you might have because it smells like you and it's familiar. So you want to, especially if I have one of those dogs, right? That's just, he cares about everything. If we get up, he wants to know what was there. If we might have something, he wants to know what it is. And so, if there's a purse that goes down, he wants to get in it. So, certainly if you have a dog that's a lot more curious maybe than another dog, those certainly are warning signs to be able to watch for, because like we talked about earlier, prevention is the best way to be safe.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with us. For folks who would like to learn more about Bil-Jac, how do they find you guys online?
Yeah, come out to our website. It's Bil-Jac.com. It's BIL-JAC.com. And we've got a great dog blog out there. You can type in poison, for example, and then you get some articles that will help you kind of know what some of those things are around the house. We've got some great articles about nutrition and taking care of your dog and helping them live a long, healthy life.
And they can find your treats in stores all over the place, right?
Yeah. We're at PetSmart. So, we're really at a variety of large retailers. We're also on Chewy.com, on PetSmart.com. So there's lots of different places where you can find both our food and our treats.
Well, thank you again for taking the time to chat. You have a great day.
Thank you, and everybody be safe out there with your dogs.
Absolutely. Again, Kim from Bil-Jac. I'm going to throw a link to their page in our show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. Bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Frozen lobsters can come back to life. Did you know that?
No.
If you love a good lobster roll, watch out. You may be a fan of a zombie that's just waiting to be released. It says frozen lobsters have also been known to spring back to life after an overnight freeze. A Connecticut-based company, True Fresh, stumbled upon this phenomenon after freezing live lobsters in a minus 40-degree chemical, and then once the creature thawed out, they were still alive. They were fine. I watched a video online of a guy with a frozen fish, pulled a fish out of a freezer, and it was frozen solid, even like tapped it on the bucket, then threw it in the water, and it floated there for a little bit, and all of a sudden it came back to life and started swimming around.
Huh.
It's like, what in the world?
Interesting.
Yeah, very bizarre. It's a very fun fact. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Here's a fun trip back to the 80s.
Surely you can't be serious.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert May 3rd and 4th. Hang out with other 80s fans.
International language of love.
Meet several 80s icons from the movies and rock out to awesome music from the 80s. Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Mr. Scandal with Patti Smythe, Thomas Dolby, Pretty Poison, and more. See the full list of bands and icons at radiotravelgroup.com. That's radiotravelgroup.com.
Now, fear this. Time for fun with phobias. Heidi, tell me, what do you think this is? Sarmassophobia. S-A-R-M-A-S-S-O phobia.
I honestly couldn't tell you with this one. It doesn't sound like a root word I've ever heard.
It is the fear of love play. What?
Okay.
I'm not sure what that means exactly. So, I don't know. I don't even want to get into that. Sarmassophobia.
Fear of foreplay.
No, love play. Fear of love play.
Love play. That would be foreplay.
Is that the same thing?
I would assume so.
But don't
it
just
sounds
assume.
like...
You don't know. Now I'm afraid to talk about it because I have sarmassophobia. I don't know. That's bizarre fun with phobias.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by weirdgiftoftheday.com. According to a criminal complaint, this is a weird story. They were in violation of a health department measles quarantine, and a Brookfield man and his wife were charged after visiting a local health club, even though they had the measles. Jeffrey Markowski told a deputy he hid in his car while his wife drove him to a Gold's Gym so he could not be spotted by a deputy who was stationed outside of his house because he was under quarantine.
Oh, my gosh.
The incident took place 10 months ago. 58-year-old Christine Bennett and 57-year-old Markowski were charged with one count each of exposing the public to communicable diseases, a misdemeanor. It says here they were ordered to be quarantined. He was in his home for 24 hours a day for 7 days a week until he was either deemed non-contagious or until May 7th, which was the date that they felt that he would no longer be contagious. But he decided, I need to go. I'm getting out of here. So
what a selfish, horrible thing to do.
I mean, why would you do that? So you're sick, and now you're quarantined. Now you're going, you know what, I'm going to just go out and spread this to whoever, whenever. That's a bizarre story. I've got a link to that in the show notes. It's today's Weird News. Now your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Transportation Security Administration, also known as the TSA. They say a man tried to fly back to Florida with a military rocket-propelled grenade launcher. Yeah. Not going to happen. It was in his checked bag. The TSA say the man's bag triggered an alarm going through the checked baggage security. At least he wasn't trying to take it on like a carry-on.
And it was checked.
Yeah,
what's he going to do with it?
TSA opened it up. They found the unassembled parts of an RPG.
Oh, and it was unassembled.
Yeah, it was rocket-propelled grenade launcher and a grenade. You don't travel with that stuff. So it says it contained the weapon's barrel, the trigger, and sights. The man, who was detained by police, told officials he thought he could bring it on the flight in a checked bag. Officials determined the components of the device could be assembled, but it was not a functioning launcher, and the grenade was not a realistic replica. No realistic replica weapons can be brought onto airplanes. So
it was pretend.
I don't know if it was pretend or not. This story doesn't make any sense to me. I have a link to it if you want to read it. I'm done with it. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Is your credit card a good fit for you? How did you even get the card you have now? Was it mailed to you? Those are usually the worst cards. They typically have higher fees and rates. Someone has to pay all that postage to mail out millions of cards every day. If you like a better credit card, check out the website bettercreditcards.net. This is a great place to find the cards that are usually a better fit for you. bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net.
Now, these three things, Heidi, tell me, what do these three things have in common? Athens, Sparta, Thebes. Athens, Sparta,
they're all Greek.
Thebes. Yeah, they're all cities or states in ancient Greece. It says city-states. I don't know if that means they're both cities and states. I'm not sure how that worked out. But city-states in ancient Greece. Athens, Sparta, Thebes. That is today's fun-filled, action-packed edition of these three things.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and by golly, Heidi, I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of RadioTravelClub.com. My beautiful bride, Heidi, and I will be in Las Vegas, Nevada for 80s in the Desert coming up May 3rd and 4th. All of the details at RadioTravelClub.com. Now, this is such a cool story. A group of high school boys woke up at 4 a.m. Why in the world would they get up so darn early?
I don't know.
Well, they got up that early because they wanted to shovel somebody's sidewalk before she had to leave for a little trip to the hospital.
Oh.
So how cool is this? It says here they wanted to do this before their neighbor had to go. They wanted to shovel her driveway before she had to leave for dialysis. So rather than sleeping in on a snow day, these boys got together 4:30 a.m. I said 4 a.m. I want to make sure I get that right. I don't want to be fake news, Heidi. So 4:30 a.m. They wanted to make sure their elderly neighbor could get to her dialysis appointment. Brian and Patrick Langia are both students at a high school in New Jersey. They live next to an older woman who relies on an ambulance transportation to bring her to her kidney dialysis treatments. And Brian, who works as an EMT, had shoveled his neighbor's driveway last week in order to make room for the ambulance to get in. But when the weather forecast called for more snow, 8 more inches of snow, the night before she had to go, they thought, you know what, if we don't do that, they might not be able to get her. So they woke up bright and early, and they had it all cleared by 6 a.m. when the ambulance drove there. He said he pulled out his phone and started calling other people that he knew. And by 4:30 in the morning, 4 of Patrick's friends arrived with shovels in hand.
That is so sweet.
And within just a short amount of time, they had successfully cleared that driveway. Patrick's father snapped a photo of the teenagers, as he called them, the snow angels, and posted that to Twitter, praising the youngsters for their compassion. I think that's really cool. So many times you see kids this age getting in trouble, and it's great to shine a positive light on the kids
Absolutely.
that do good things,
That's
too. So
fantastic.
hats off to you boys. Keep up the good work. I think that's just a really cool story.
It is.
It's today's good news. I've got a link to that in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.